Hi, Paul here again, and today I'm with Lorraine, who is one of the people that helps out with the hobbies and collection section. Hello, Lorraine.
Hello, Paul. How are you?
Very good. Now, when it comes to hobbies, we're talking toys basically, and they're toys made of wood, metal, plastic, and those sort of things.
Mainly, yes, but they could be just other artefacts people make with their hands.
And I assume they have to be made by the exhibitor.
Yes.
Yep. So you can't get someone else's toy and enter it.
No.
It's understandable, totally understandable. Most sections are that way, that you have to exhibit the stuff you've made. And it doesn't have to be made within that year. I gather you could make it over a 3-year period until you're finished.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Other things are collections. Now, when I was a boy, we used to collect stamps and coins, and that was about it. I did collect stickers one year, and then they had those round little plastic button things called Tarzos, and that was about all I ever collected. But there are some really unusual things which I love on here. And that is that there's a collection of hat pins or hat badges, as I gather they're called. And then there's items of history and items of war memorabilia, plates and bottles. And we'll talk about a few of those first of all. So when we have hat badges, that's basically what's here.
Some of these are hat badges, but there is a difference. A hat pin
Is the thing that
is
goes
the
along way.
pin that goes through when back in those days.
Yes, where a hat
So
badge
they wear
is something.
badges.
Yes.
A lot of those are hat badges, souvenir badges of where I've been.
And you pick them up from all different spots around the place.
Around
And
the world.
when you display them at the show, would you display them on a board like this or on a hat or?
I've taken that board as is.
Yep.
Because there's too many there
To put on a hat.
to put on a hat, and it just wouldn't work out that way.
Mm-hmm. And then items of war memorabilia are things like these two, yes?
These two specifically, that's the Arizona, got in Hawaii, that's the Missouri, the beginning and the end of the Second World War, but there are other things here that I've got from Singapore and the Arizona Memorial from the Western Front.
I probably thought more of as in medals and badges that your grandfather or great-grandfather might have got, but I see how that works now. It's a lot more interesting. Now, one of the other things is bottles. Now, I do a lot of drinking, so do the bottles I drank yesterday get into the show, or are they special sorts?
No, the bottle collections are generally old, dirty bottles, different shapes, different colours, green bottles, blue bottles, because back in the day, bottles were a different shape. It wasn't just the one shape of bottle.
And every elixir come in a different bottle.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, so
Chemist stuff and all that.
yeah, so all the interesting shaped bottles. So it's not just a bottle.
No,
collection.
not a beer bottle.
No. Now the other things you have is stamps, which you'd show in a stamp album, I assume, or do you have cards or?
They're generally in albums, although some, if they've got what they call first edition, they might be on an envelope. They buy them from the post office
That way. Yep.
So they might have a collection of those.
And plates have a plate stand, which is pretty simple, just a little triangular shaped thing the plate sits in. Cards, I'm assuming they'd either be in an album with sticky things or they'd be placed in set up or.
Cards are generally set up to display them as you would in a shop to display them. I don't think they put them in albums. They may do, but to me they're just in a separate little cellophane envelope so they don't get dirty.
And I understand there's a lot of card making that goes on, so that would be an interesting thing for a lot of people.
It is, yeah.
The other thing is you have any other collection not already mentioned, so if someone out there has a really interesting collection they'd like to put in the show, I'm sure it'll go well in this section.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure people would love to see it at the show.
Absolutely, we'll take any sort of collection.
The thing with the collection section is it does change in size depending on what the collections are. Sometimes they're small and there's not much space required, and sometimes they're huge and we've got to find more space. But if you've got a collection, feel free to put it in.
That's right.
Thank you very much for your interview. It's been great.
Not a problem. Thank you.